Hey, I'm Angela. Welcome back to my Free Food Healthy Kitchen. How do you get set up for cutting? I like to be at something that is about counter height. That's more comfortable, so you can stand comfortably, stand tall, you're not hunched over. When you get your cutting board set, I'm at my table here, so I put a pad down. Normally you would just be at your counter, and here is a dampened towel, just a dampened paper towel. And if you put this under your cutting board, it'll prevent it from sliding, which is really important in terms of safety. That way your board won't slip when you're cutting and it will prevent you from getting cut. Ouch, you don't want that. So knives. What essential knives do you need to have in your kitchen? You definitely need a chef's knife of some sort. Probably an 8-inch or a 6-inch, depending on the size of your hand. And some people, this is a French knife, and you can tell by the curve of it. And the bulk of the cutting is really done from the middle to the back of the knife here. You just use the tip, for certain things. And then there's Japanese style knives, which I love this knife. And it's used a little bit differently. You don't use the back of the knife as much as you use the front and the middle. So you just need to know how to use the knife. In terms of other essential knives, I think you definitely will need a paring knife of some sort. 3, 4, 5-inch paring knife that you'll need to have in your kitchen. I have probably, 6 paring knives in my kitchen because I use them so much. But you need to have at least one. And then a bread knife or utility knife, some sort of serrated knife, I think you need to have. I don't eat bread very much, but I still use a bread knife for other things that need to be cut with a serrated knife. So, like tomatoes like to be cut with a serrated knife when you're slicing them. And baked goods, a lot of baked goods prefer a serrated knife. So it's good to have in your kitchen. That to me is kind of the array. Now there are a whole slew of other knives that you can have, boning knives and fillet knives and cleavers, and if you do that kind of work, I certainly invite you to have all the knives that you feel you need to have in your kitchen. I just think those are the basics. And so along with knives, you need to have some sort of sharpening tool, and the sharpening steel is the most basic tool, and ideally you do want to sharpen your knife every time before you use it. The sharpening steel, you just kind of take your knife at a 45-degree angle and you're just going to kind of go like this, just a few times to sharpen it. And when you do that, you're just going to want to wipe your knife in case there's any shavings that come off there. And then there's sharpeners like this, which make life even easier, where you don't even have to bother with the sharpening steel, and you can just pull the knife straight through like this. So whatever works for you. Now, you need to know that that's not how you're going to sharpen a serrated knife. So that is different. There's different blades to sharpen a serrated knife, and you're going to want to read about that so you don't hurt your serrated knives. I always have a work towel available. You can see how I just use it when sharpening my knives, and I certainly am going to have it while I'm doing my cutting. I like to have my sanitizer around. I talked about sanitizer in the organization video, the food safe sanitizer. Important to spray your knives if you need to quickly sanitize your cutting board or whatever you're doing. You don't want cross-contamination. I like to have this handy and around. This is great. The other thing I will say when you're preparing to cut is just how to properly hold a knife. And that is to grab it between your thumb and your index finger, just like this. And you want to have a grip on it, but you don't want to be, you don't want to be like all constipated about it and stressed out about it. You want to be relaxed. But that's the proper grip. You don't want to do the pointer finger because like you're calling someone out with the knife like that, like I'm cutting that way, like you're not Babe Ruth in it, you just, because you don't have as much control. So you're just holding it between the thumb and the forefinger, and with a grip like that. So that's how you're properly going to hold your knife. And and we'll get into this in the other videos, but you're gonna, you create the claw where this middle knuckle, the middle finger knuckle, is going to be your guide and protect your other fingers. So we'll see that when we talk about cutting an onion and some of the other cutting that we do. So that is just your intro for how to get set up, setting up your station, the knives that you need to have, your sharpener. So do that first, and then we'll get into some super fun, exciting, actual cutting. Yay!